Started seeing the posts. People were reaching out to me and going, oh my gosh, did you see this? Do you know? Yep, I knew about it. Yep, we do. Accuracy in Media did an amazing expose, and all of the people who helped them out, massive kudos. Lots of local folks helped with that. They did an undercover investigation. It was like an old James O'Keefe investigation of schools in Indiana and catching faculty members admitting that they are teaching critical race theory in class, and they are intentionally misleading and hiding from you, the parents. Now, not that long ago, we did a story about how, obviously Penn Harris Madison was claiming that they weren't teaching critical race theory, but they were teaching critical race theory. Students and parents and faculty members knew that they were teaching critical race theory and would even testify to that publicly at the school board meetings. But PHM stood fast and said, we do not teach critical race theory here at PHM. And then you had one of the teachers say, yeah, I totally teach critical race theory at PHM. You had several teachers inside the South Bend School Community School Corporation say that they teach critical race theory to elementary school students. So this is a well-known thing in this area. And there's been we're not alone. This is all over the country, folks, but there has been an active core group of people here that have been trying desperately to expose this stuff. And I know that I've told you a lot. I have not told you other stuff because I'm trying to protect people's livelihoods and things of that nature. But there's a lot of folks who are working on this, a lot of folks. And Accuracy in Media put the resources together, did the expose. I'm going to pause this periodically through this to let you know what school district we are talking about here. So when you hear the sound bites, you'll understand this affects you. So this is from Jesse Waters. Now, for the full video, go to aim.org, AIM.org. They have the full 8 minutes. Okay, Jesse Waters obviously didn't play the 8 minutes. I think his full segment was 5 minutes. But he's got about 3 minutes or so of audio. This is Jesse Waters Primetime.
Schools are brainwashing our children and then lying to us about it. Every time a concerned parent goes, hey, school board, why is little Johnny reading White Fragility in class? Are you teaching CRT? The school says, don't be ridiculous. We don't teach CRT here. We teach social studies. But like I said, they're lying. And we have the video to prove it. We've obtained undercover video from Accuracy in Media showing several school officials throughout the state of Indiana, a red state, misleading parents with different lingo to slide CRT into the class. Watch.
We've talked about to our textbook companies that are coming in to do presentations. And I actually prep them a little bit because I'm like, we want this in our curriculum. So if you could just not say specifically this, then it won't cause a red flag with the community.
What else do you have to relabel
L
or
card.
non-label like that?
I think really CRT, social emotional learning, are the two biggies. That we just have to avoid the words,
Right.
the
labels.
We can still do the content, just no label.
Yep.
That's
Well,
cool.
with the CRT stuff, it's not the theory that you're teaching
Right.
as much as it is the tenets of.
Right. Exactly. You're not teaching the theory. You're just teaching that, these are the events of history and.
Yes.
Exactly.
Now, this is in Elkhart, Indiana. That's Brad Shepard. He's the assistant superintendent. Here's him telling people, yes, we teach critical race theory. We just don't use the words. We hide it from everybody. You've heard me talk about the stuff happening in Elkhart quite a bit. It's Brad Shepard, the assistant superintendent of Elkhart Community Schools, admitting on camera they teach critical race theory, and then they lie to you, mom and dad. They hide it from you so that way you can stop asking questions. The first lady was from Martinsville. It continues. Hold on.
Okay.
That's
Right
how
on.
history teachers are approaching.
Yeah.
Right. So by the time they get into the higher education, they hear the theory and it's complete.
Exactly.
It's not out of
Yes,
left
they've already
field.
been
It's not out
brainwashed.
of left field.
Exactly.
Right.
There's some context there.
So just change the name. No one will know. We don't want any attention here. Just put a dress on it and call it a different name. Kids will learn to hate themselves. Then they'll be compliant peasants without dignity who won't threaten their masters. That's the play. And as for the committees who are hired to put this in schools, they'll change that name too.
Do you have an equity department?
Plainfield.
So honestly, we had what we decided to do is not call attention to it, because when you call attention to it, then questions are asked, and I really believe that you can do more good under the radar.
You can do more good under the radar. Said no honest person ever. Yeah, we can do more good by just not telling moms and dads about this because we don't want them asking questions. Get it? It continues.
Right before COVID, we had started some really deep diving into our curriculum, and
deep diving,
and kind of doing that like white privilege walk, and making sure like just understand.
White privilege walk is not to be confused with what used to happen to her in college on a Saturday morning. Okay, that's not the same thing. That's a different type of walk.
Right.
Both
now,
shameful.
I will tell you that we did tweak
Goshen.
the name of our Equity and Inclusion Committee.
This is Tracy No, the assistant superintendent, Goshen Schools. Just so you know.
Because we just didn't want to make a target of it, and we felt for the people that were a part of that membership, and so we renamed it. But that's the work we do is still.
What did you rename it?
Right now, it's named a work group.
Okay, so if you got kids in Goshen and you hear the term work group, you know what they're doing. Thank you, Tracy. No, appreciate the heads up on that. Of course, they'll change the names now, but you get the idea.
Nobody's coming for a
Just change the name of the CRT committee to get the parents off our backs.
Yeah.
There's nothing to see here. We can do more when they don't know about it. This is a Trojan horse for reverse racism. And if it's happening in Indiana, it can happen anywhere. And we reached out to these schools for comment. They have not yet responded.
Why would they? Why would they respond? So, yeah, like I said, there's over 8 minutes of this. And there are Indiana schools all over the place. I played the clip that he used on his show because it had Elkhart and Goshen in it, because I wanted you to see that. But let's not forget that we have been covering these stories in our community on this show for years now. I've had whistleblowers inside of Elkhart. I've had whistleblowers inside of South Bend. I've had whistleblowers inside of Concord and elsewhere. And we're talking. You need to understand something. That's why I tried my best to convey this to you, because there was a point in time where it was a powder keg against all educators here. You parents have a lot of allies on faculty and on staff at these schools. You have a lot of allies in those school districts. This is what they're doing. Hey, do you remember when, since Goshen, we just renamed him as a work group. Hey, you remember when Penn Harris Madison did that, got caught breaking the law doing it? Were ordered to stop. Remember that? Do you remember that? Then you start going down the rabbit hole of who used to be at PHM and who's now at Middlebury, who's at Elkhart, who's at Goshen. Oh, wow. It's almost like it's the same people or something, because it is. MNC News Time is 3:34. Time to check out Impress Jewelry Creations, creating meaningful jewelry for the moments that last a lifetime.
This is Michiana's breaking news and weather station.
Okay, we're going to go over the accuracy and media write-up on this now. Their full video of this is 8 minutes and 45 seconds. And I will put it in the Daily Show prep today. People are pointing out that Middlebury's really bad, Concord's bad. You're all correct. And a lot of them are, again, they'll come from the same branch. It's like the Belichick tree of superintendents in this area. That's why we've been fighting so hard to expose this stuff for the past several years. And like I said, I think it's great that this is getting national attention, but this is happening everywhere. This isn't just something that's unique here. It's just that there have been people deeply, deeply involved. And by the way, other side of the border on the Michigan side too, in Berrien County, this is a big problem there. It's one of the reasons that the school board races went the way that they went. For its next hidden camera investigation, Accuracy and Media's investigators headed to Indiana. The reliably Republican state in middle America is not where one might expect to find a thriving culture of educators deceptively working to teach critical race theory and its principles. Well, that's because a lot of people don't understand that Indiana isn't red. Indiana's purple. It's a soft red. And when you look at the governors, this one, last one before that, the people that they have appointed to run education in the state have all been leftists. Why? In a hidden camera interview, Plainfield Community School Corporation Assistant Superintendent Laura Del Vecchio told Ames investigators that we stay under the radar. We'd like to keep it that way in regards to teaching CRT and social emotional learning, or SEL, which is, again, as we've been telling you for years now, that is the CRT Trojan horse here. CRT is being taught in the SEL program. It's been taught in others too, but SEL is the main thoroughfare. However, Brad Shepard, Elkhart Assistant Superintendent, told Ames investigators that parents are beginning to catch on to what they're doing with SEL. Quote, we just have to avoid the words, the labels, he said. You all heard the audio. I played it for you. SEL has become a preferred mode of including diversity, equity, and inclusion along with CRT. Shepard further said that SEL can very easily be incorporated into some subjects, namely language arts. But according to Shepard, SEL has become a bad phrase, and we don't openly use that phrase, but we're still doing it. I mean, just to avoid anything. I mean, we have not really been hit with it, but just to even avoid it. So here's the thing. Critical race theory started getting taught. SEL was a main conduit for critical race theory to end up in the classroom in the state of Indiana, okay, and particularly in our local school districts here in Michiana. And as parents who are very active are exposing SEL for what it was, now you're finding that school districts like Elkhart Community Schools are hiding SEL from you. They're not using SEL. So you're like, oh, well, I haven't heard about the SEL stuff in a while. I guess we're not doing SEL anymore. So I guess critical race theory isn't in the classroom anymore. Wrong. They're just hiding it, which you should have been on the lookout for. We warned you. Tracy No, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment at Goshen Community Schools, expressed a similar sentiment, telling AIM investigators that the Equity and Inclusion Committee's name has been changed because we just didn't want to make a target of it. Why not? Once again, the old adage, if you're not doing anything wrong, then why do you need to hide it from the public? Let's not forget, PHM was doing this crap. PHM was putting these work groups together, and they were talking about this stuff in violation of the records law of the state. The attorney general told them to stop, and they finally had to stop. But they were having these meetings so they could discuss this stuff without you being able to get some kind of an information request. So it's on the down low. It's an official capacity, but it's unofficial. So they don't actually have to keep a record of anything. They were breaking the law. They got busted breaking the law. Did the PHM school board do anything about that? No, of course not. They didn't do anything about it. Right, Chris Riley? Why didn't you do anything about it? They got caught breaking the law, dude. Doesn't warrant a word from you? Oh, that's right. You got personal financial entanglements with the superintendent. Never mind. My apologies. Del Vecchio further explained that we had started some really deep diving into our curriculum and kind of doing that white privilege walk and making sure, like, just understand, right? This is kept very under wraps, though, and not to trigger alarm bells for parents. Quote, what we've decided to do is not call attention to it, because when you call attention to it, then questions are asked, and I really believe that you can do more good under the radar, she reiterated. Hey, they have the same philosophy about gender transitions for your kids. They could do more good by swapping your kid's gender without you knowing about it. They can do more good by indoctrinating your kid with communism without you knowing about it. Get the idea? That's kind of what's going on here. Some educators in the state are going as far as to prep textbook presenters to avoid certain topics in their presentations. Quote, we have talked to our textbook companies that are coming and doing presentations, and I actually prepped them a little bit. Because I'm like, we want this in our curriculum. So if you could just not say specifically this, then it won't cause a red flag with the community. And I hate that we have to, but that way it's still there, meaning the content is still there. And they would support it if just the content was there and they just, it's the little tiny, that's Jenny Oakley. She's trying to read between the lines, quote, she's from Martinsville. She's the director of e-learning and literacy. So, yes, this is happening with you e-learning folks and everything else. And like I said, the COVID stuff, what it did is it opened up the eyes of a lot of parents. Luckily. So this is what they are doing. Not just here. This is all over the country. All over the country. If you're listening and you're in Tennessee, I know a lot of you are in Tennessee. If you're listening right now and you're in another state, this is happening in your community too. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and the all-new MNC Nation. Now, in the same week that the entire country is finally being made aware of the things that are happening with education in the state of Indiana, particularly in our neck of the woods in Michiana, the Indiana Senate GOP are not supporting advancing the expansion of vouchers. Remember what I said about it not being a red state because the Republican Party in the state of Indiana is not red. They're purplish. Now, in St. Joseph County, they're red. In Elkhart, they're fairly red. They're getting redder. But as far as the state party is concerned, they're not red, folks. They're not. They're soft Democrats is what they are. The House, right now, they're your friends. The Indiana Senate, not so much. A major expansion proposed for Indiana's private school voucher program would be axed under the state budget plan advanced Thursday by Senate Republicans. The voucher expansion, supported by House Republicans, will be among several points of contention as House and Senate budget leaders work to reach an agreement on a new 2-year state budget before the end of April. So they're going to go into committee. You're going to have representatives from the Senate side, the House side, arguing over this thing. We will talk with Jake Teshka about this on Friday. Well, I guess that's tomorrow. Today's Thursday. So we'll talk with Jake Teshka about this tomorrow because this is one of the things that he's pushing. And as somebody who pulled my kids out of public school, this is an important thing. I personally will not be impacted by this, but a lot of you will be. And so here we are. We've got a national story, Indiana's education, laid bare in a negative light for the entire country to see, where people are teaching your kids racist nonsense, brainwashing your kids, and admitting on camera that they are intentionally hiding it from the public, from the parents, so that way they don't raise a fuss about what their kids are being taught in class. Just like they were hiding the pornography they were showing to your kids. Just like they were hiding the drag shows that were happening with your kids in after-school assemblies. They were hiding all of that from you. And in the midst of all of that, Senate Republicans in Indiana are going, we don't think we should advance school choice. We shouldn't expand upon that at all. What a load of crap. And I know that staff members for Senate Republicans listen to this show. Take my words back to the Capitol with you. This will blow up in your face. In the midst of having who knows, maybe the story coming out right now is going to be enough in committee to get the Senate Republicans to change their mind on this. Who knows? Maybe it's a blessing in disguise and I'm getting all uppity about it for no reason. Got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and MNC Nation.
WTRC FM and HD1 Niles, South Bend.